Hi everyone, in this session we want to add the chest. The player goes near the chest and the chest can spawn different items with different rarity. Okay, first we need to have a chest with the ability that the door will be open and closed. So I want to mention that AI, download that and bring it into the blender because I want to separate the lid from this part. Then I drag and drop my model into the blender. I click on that and then go to edit mode, delete, the door, and press shift so that everything is selected. So I first export that and then do these things for the bottom. I just press delete vertices. Okay, now I export the top one as well. Okay, I brought the model up also with the texture. Let me deactivate the enemies. So let me make yeah, just something that is exactly underground. And I call it chest. Okay, the down goes there. Scale that. And now, if you try to close it, I have to change the pivot point. So I can go into Blender. Okay, select this, set origin, set the third cursor, and then export that. So here, let's close the top button, the top one, and perfectly align it with the bottom. And now give the textures. Okay, then as you see, okay, this is working like a real chest. So now we go to here and then give it a box collider. Okay, just have more space here so the player enters here and it will be opened. And don't forget to make it is trigger. Then we go to the scripts. It's kind of inventory, okay. And I have a chest. And now we're ready to first let's we want to make the animations. Okay. If other that's no compare tag. If this is player, then you want it shows the open animation and also generate the loot. So we need the start function. So private animator anim and then anim is equal to get components animator. Okay, we go to our project and then make the animation of the opening of the chest. So at first it is closed. So we go to chest and create an animation. Okay, the usually this is closed. So usually this is this. So we need to make another animation for opening the chest. Okay, now um, I press that and then I go to top. Just change it a little bit. And after half a second, it would be open. Then we go to parameters and then have a trigger open. And the open should not be looped. Okay, from any state to open. And make sure that can transition to self is not checked. Otherwise, it would have weird animation like closing again. So, okay, that is the open. And it doesn't have any out, exit. Now this is ready and let's go to, so the name was open. Okay, we go to here and say anim, let's set trigger open. Now let's check that out with the player. So here is the chest. Okay, this is open. Wow, the chest is very huge. So there must be very good loot. So you want to give it a max and min number of loots that it can have, and also where the objects should be spawned. So we give them some offset compared to that, so that all of the loots are not spawned in the same place. So at first, I have the serialized fields, private, transform. Transform. It means that the item place, item that would be appear, and then we have the private int min uh, item, the minimum number of item there, which should be 2, and then the maximum amount of number, which I can give it 6 items. Okay, so I would be very happy. There are lots of items if they are legendary. And we need a boolean to check if the chest has been opened or not, because we don't want that every time the player goes there it just give loots every time. So private pool is open. At first this is false. I make another function, private void open chest. So we say that if is open is true, then return and do nothing because the player already has collected the thing. Else is open, yes, must be true, but at first it's false, but then as it is get there, okay, let me show this here. So when it opens that, it will be true. And then here we want to get the list of the items. If you go to inventory manager, you had get random loads that we previously discussed about that. If you want to change that for the chest, then we can change that. But as here, we have already said that the enemies can loot between this number, just 3 loots. But we want to give the max and min amount. So we can change that a little bit. So let me copy that and paste it here and say get random items, which is for the chest. And here we have int min and int max. And then here we delete that and int okay, the loop count is random, that's range, min and max, as it always, because it means that between min number and the max number minus of that max number. So you have to give it 1 if you want exactly the max number. And then it gives that. We can also change the rarity if you want. Um, for example, lower the amount. So there is more chance that it gives good items. Or you can have different chests. For example, get a random item for the simple chest, then you can count on this. It could gives more simple items. Or you can have for a legendary chest. So you make it in a way that it gives more legendary items by changing these numbers. So it's up to you. Just make a chest that is just possible to give this amount of possibilities for dropping item. Okay, now we want to call that in our script. So here we make a list. So list of items, and I call it, okay, item would be equal to inventory manager dot instance dot I think it was get random item, which has the min item and max item. And maybe you just selected that it would be, because in inspector you can change that. What if it's, you say 0? Then if items is equal to, sorry, it is a list, count is 0, then it returns. But if something has been selected, then we have the for each loop, yes, in items, then we want that would be instantiated. First, we'll have a vector3 for place, for random place. Random place, the new vectors3, random, that's range. For the x, it could be between this. For the y, it would be 0. And for the z, from forward or backward, it would be like that. Then we say instantiate item, where in the item place plus the random place and quaternion, that's, you can give it some, some rotation if you want. So the item place is transformed, so is it transformed to position, and we want that item that's grounded prefab. As remember, we have the grounded prefab for that, so that would be instantiated. Now this is ready. Now we go to, let me close the Blender. So here we want to give it a um, instantiation point. I give this, and here, and I give this one to that. You can um, instantiation point, and now everything should work. So let's see that. Yeah, it has that items. Oh, it gave me legendary thing. I also need to give it a box glider so it wouldn't go there. Mm, but it is not its trigger. And I have to, Okay, so the box collider should be shorter, I mean smaller than this. Otherwise, it doesn't allow to get to the trigger. I think that -1. Mm, give it that because I don't want that it goes to that place. I mean inside the chest. Okay, I think that gave me only one thing. Let me delete the things that I have. What that I have here? What it gave me? So the problem is that as soon as they come here, they are grabbed by the player. So I have to give it a delay. So at first they are shown and then they are absorbed. So one of the ways that you give a delay between their appear and then to able to collect them. So here we go here, and we have private float pickup delay. For example, after 1 second, it can pick up that. And then we have private float, something that counts the timer. S- Pound time, and in the start spawn time is time the little time. There's another. Okay, we don't need the update method to actually have the count of the time. So there's another way. And then here we have public pool can pick up. And here we have return time the delta time the time is more than spawn time or equal. Spawn time plus pickup delay. And here we say and what is this? Um, and can pick up. So it wouldn't immediately pick up the item. You can add some effects, for example, when it is not pickable. In that 1 second, you can add, for example, some glowing effect, some other things, but just give you the idea and you can. Okay, so now as you see here, we have them. It gave me two, but I think that the randomness of the place is very bad. So before, for each loop, I have a um, int I because I want that. Okay, the first item when it is instantiated, the second one has a space between that. So they all are, and then when the second one and the third one comes, it has just some. Let me show you here. This is the first item. And the second thing has a specific distance from the second one. And the third one has the um, space, a certain amount of a space compared to that. So they are in the line, and they don't overlap. This is one of the ways that you can use. So we have this int I and we have the vector 3 offset is equal to new vector 3 I is 0, 0. Um, I give it a spacing. I make it okay, and then here say I plus plus. Oh, what is this? Okay, and then here, not only it has to be plus by that, but also plus by the offset. Yeah, there are these things. Let me delete that just to check if there are really three items. Yes, there are three. And I check that again. So it gave me two legendary items. If that is not enough, we can give it one. And you can also give some Z offset if you like. You can also add a rigid body to them so they are shooted in the air. Yes, so here is items. They are very far apart, so we have one, two, three, four, five items. Um, okay, you get the idea. You just need to change the numbers, and if you want, you can add those rigid body. Let me do that. So here we give it a game object go is that. Now we want to add a rigid body, add components, rigid body. You could have gone and did it in an inspector, but that's a rigid body. But maybe we don't want that for the usual one. So yes, that's it. We want to add a force to the up and also a little bit around. For example, it wouldn't go just this. It goes a little bit um, like this, like this. Okay. So I tell you how to do that. Now vector 3, shoot direction. It would be random. So vector 3, that's up. How much up? Well, I can say 2F. And then RB, that's add force. Okay, the shoot direction, but also I give it a power, kind of a speed, like 4F. And force mode, that's impulse. So it has kind of a punchy way of uh, being shooting upwards. So now let's go and try that. Ooh. Oh, where did they go? Oh, I see why. Because they don't have a box collider. Yes, they have a box collider for, or a sphere collider for detecting the things. Like if I show you here, is that it is trigger. But we also need to add something that is not is trigger, so it would stay on the ground. Item grounded. So if I go there, this is a sphere collider, and I want that to be very smaller than this. Move components. No, just copy the components and then paste. That component is not is triggered, and I make the radius to be lower than that. You can do this one by one. It's good to have that glider, and also it's good to give it a rigid body here because maybe the enemy is killed beside a cliff, so it just falls down, and the loot you wanted, okay, it would follow that to that place. Yeah, I did for all the items, and also come here and freeze the rotation so they don't roll on the ground. Freeze rotation, it would be true. So I think that we are ready, so let's go and see what would happen. So that is was very good, and these items are there, but I can't pick them up. Okay, I just make the radius a little bit bigger because that was the problem. So its trigger should be very, very bigger than the standard collider that is here. So now the problem is gone. And let me check if, so we have to sort, yes. So now it works just fine, and yeah. And here I just gave the, corrected the offsets. So I think that this is better. So they would have, in the range of the chest they appear. So something like that. You can even change the offsets more if you want to make them closer, and it depends all on you.